shows and movies. Time to have Hulu.
You know where you are? You're on the Jungle Cruise, baby. You're gonna have an okay time. It's all right.
Yeah, it's all right.
You're gonna sigh.
You're gonna sigh. Perfect.
There you go.
It's Australia Commentaries. We're talking about Jungle Cruise, if you didn't get that. I'm here with Lon and Danielle. We're going to give you our behind the scenes thoughts about the video and our deep dive thoughts on the movie, show you some deleted scenes, respond to viewer comments and questions. So keep those coming in the chat. And then we'll tease you with next week's honest trailer. It's going to be a good one. Okay, Jungle Cruise. It happened. We all watched it. It flowed relatively easily. I know, Lon, you kind of were like, I hate this. I thought it was I can understand hating it only because it's so plain. It's just like it's just like an amusement park ride. You get on, some things swing around, and you get off. It really didn't make much of an impression, aside from Jesse Plemons and Paul Giamatti, which we can talk about. But I found this to be a more or less inoffensive but not great attempt at doing a Mummy, at doing a Pirates of the Caribbean, or God forbid, Indiana Jones. So it was fine. It wasn't good, but it was fine. But what do you guys think?
It was pleasant.
Yeah.
Is that like a good, like it was, you could put it on while you're cleaning.
Yep. Good doing something else while you're watching movie.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we had to pay close attention. Lon, why'd you hate it?
I feel like The Rock has made a few movies that I would term comedy adjacent. Like Central Intelligence is on, I recently watched it similar, where it's like, there's nothing funny. Like nobody actually says funny things. It's not actually funny, but everybody's like acting like it's funny. Like their dialogue sounds like banter. It's just joke-free banter. And like, this was relentlessly like that, where it's like, it's silly and zany and like winking at you to let you know not to take it seriously. But like the only actual jokes are Jungle Cruise jokes. Like the puns happen, but there's no other kinds of joke. Like it's just none of the characters are funny.
I never walked into this. I never walked into this thinking it would be a comedy. I thought this was going to be an adventure movie.
But they're acting like it's funny. The movie's predicated upon you finding these characters funny. It's not trying to get you to take it seriously. And like all the other movies you mentioned are fun. Like The Mummy's funny.
It's got funny beats in it.
Yeah, like when The Mummy's trying to have banter between like Rachel Weisz and Brendan Fraser, like it works. It's actually funny. This is like the illusion of being like, watch this hand, and then you don't notice the other hand's not being funny.
I think the comedy was the weakest beats. And then also, you can really tell that they were not in any kind of jungle for a movie called The Jungle Cruise. Like, they're not even sweating half the time, and like there's no bugs. It's just like, it didn't feel real. It felt very much like you're on one of those shaky box green screen rides rather than like, actually, I know they shot some of it in Hawaii, again, not a jungle, but most of it really felt cartoonish. And I think
we made that joke missing there. We made that joke during the Loki trailer, and like Loki did a better job of it than this, where it's like they kind of get by doing like expansive digital establishing shots, and then you zero in and they could be, they're in Burbank at a green screen studio. And like this definitely has that, like you get this beautiful vista of the boat winding down the Amazon, and then you zoom way into the boat, and it's pretty obvious that is a boat that is surrounded by a big green wall, and they're in Glendale.
Yeah.
Glendale Cruise.
And like a lovely spot for a cruise. I enjoy Glendale.
Now, before we get into
Park at the Galleria.
I've
walk to Americana.
I've been to Disneyland like 4 or 5 times in my life. I've never been on the Jungle Cruise. Is the Jungle Cruise even at Disneyland, or is that Disney World?
It's like one of the original Disneyland rides.
I never did it.
Walt designed the Jungle Cruise. Like it was his idea.
Okay. And does it satisfy you as a fan of the ride, the Jungle Cruise?
Not really.
Okay. Well, I get it. Yeah.
I mean, like the Jungle Cruise ride is very much like what The Rock is doing with his tour at the beginning of this movie. Like it's not a ride in a thrill ride sense. The Jungle Cruise. You're on a boat that's on a track going through water. There's animatronics, and then there's a guide who's doing bits with you during the ride.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't disappoint me in that sense. So I wonder if fans of the ride were either like more into it or less into
No, I
it
mean,
because it did or didn't.
The ride has a lot of like old school charm, and it does have the like what you expect when you hear there's going to be a Jungle Cruise movie. If there's going to be a skipper doing puns, and it's going to be period. Like that's probably what it does the best is the opening 10 minutes where it's recreating the ride. It's like everything after that where I was like, well, it's trying to do pirates, and none of that felt like the ride at all.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's take a ride down the Amazon with our Jungle Cruise Honest trailer. Hit it.
The following trailer is rated S for spoilers. Yep, there's actually something you may not have seen coming in the Jungle Cruise movie. I'm as shocked as you are.
I did pause. I will tell you the one thing I didn't see coming is them using real life conquistadors as supporting characters. That's weird. Like making so much of the movie about the like brutal colonization of South America is an interesting strategy.
But The Rock felt bad about it.
It's
Or
true.
I guess
he feels
did.
bad.
Well, sort of. In the moment, he did. He had a twinge of regret.
If he hadn't been cursed, would he feel bad about being a conquistador? Not really.
Yeah, because during mid-massacre, he had a change of heart.
Oh, that's true.
It must be nice to be racially ambiguous.
It would be hard to get like halfway into the Amazon behind Pizarro and not figure out like what the score was.
What the
I
deal
will
is.
say you would have figured it out pretty quick what these guys were up to. They were not subtle.
Spoiler. All right, keep going.
Spoiler for Conquista.
You've seen The Rock make a jungle movie. You've seen The Rock make a movie where he teams up with a new friend to recover a shiny artifact. But have you seen The Rock make a jungle movie where he teams up with a new friend to recover a shiny artifact? Yes.
Return the jewel to the Jaguar's eye.
Twice.
You're going to take me to Ogata do Diabo.
Now, get ready for the third Rock plus friend plus jungle plus shiny artifact retrieval adventure in Jungle Cruise. The Disneyland
I guess
ride
pause.
that's maybe
Where does this rank for you guys in the Rock jungle pantheon? Is this top tier, bottom tier, somewhere in the middle?
I really liked the rundown.
Okay.
Yeah, I was
thought
gonna
the
say
rundown. Yeah, I'd say
number one, Rock of the Jungle rundown. I gotta say, I think the Jumanji movies are way better than this. I enjoy both Jumanji films more than Jungle.
I gotta agree.
Yeah,
this is sub Jumanji for me. So
because they've got a good comic premise. Like all those actors getting to act like the kids and whatever is a lot funnier than any of the stuff they came up with for this one.
Yeah, and Lon, we were slacking about this a couple of weeks ago. Is like what does and doesn't count as a jungle movie, because there's plenty of movies where he visits a jungle, but it's not a jungle movie. And okay, he goes to the backwoods, his family home in Samoa or wherever it was in Hobbs and Shaw, and it's like jungle adjacent, but that doesn't count, even though they're in heavily wooded area in Rampage. Does that count?
Yeah, and Mummy Scorpion King has some they're near a jungle. Like it's more desert, but there are some jungles, but it doesn't quite get there.
Yeah.
I think Hercules 2 has at least one jungle adjacent sequence, but it didn't feel sufficiently like a jungle.
Dwayne of the Jungle. All right.
I mean, it looks like a guy that would be in the jungle. I mean, I guess I get that. Like, that's why you gotta have muscles like that if you're gonna survive the jungle.
All right, keep going.
Disneyland ride that's maybe 5% actual ride and 95% corny jokes is now an adventure movie that's maybe 5% actual adventure and 95% corny jokes.
Ma'am, don't forget to collect your baggage. I'm only kidding. He's behind you.
From some of Atlanta's most
that's
exotic
from the real
screen
ride.
locales comes a boat trip crammed with more painfully awkward banter than the entertainment lineup on a budget carnival cruise, where the only thing tougher to escape than the ancient curses are the endless punchline adjacent arguments.
If I have to bring you back dead, it's $15,000.
Why should I pay more dead?
Dead, I'd have to carry. You should give up.
You should give up the guitar.
Frank, get it.
Hold on.
Come on.
I got it.
Frank, I don't got
It's
it.
okay to be nervous. It's your first time. I've done this hundreds of times.
I don't know how to take that, Frank.
This is special.
Would you like me to give it a wiggle?
Yes.
Absolutely not.
Yes.
I could pop round the back and
So,
give it a
pause.
once.
No, we're good.
First of all, I thought that that went on so long that it became funny again to me.
Yeah.
They kept talking about the sword penis. But
It's exactly the Hobbs and Shaw thing where they go back and forth and you keep waiting for the punchline, and it's no, the joke is just that they're arguing.
The thing is I don't see this as being any different from the pattern and rhythm and quality of like a Marvel movie. I'm sorry, but like that's the kind of tone and jokes that they make in every Marvel movie, and like it just like it's like it gets a sensible chuckle, you know, at its best. But
I mean, I don't necessarily disagree with you. It just depends on the Marvel movie. Like, I think there are Marvel movies that are funnier than this, but there are indeed Marvel movies that do develop this kind of feel for sure.
Kind of the Disney house style is like, we know you're watching a movie and we know you're probably thinking about this in a scene like this, so we're going to take time to kind of turn to you and say like, you know what, we both expected this to happen, that wasn't cool, wink.
I guess I just found this variation of it particularly tiresome. But what's also galling is that I know from other films that The Rock and Emily Blunt and Jack Whitehall, like, they're all funny. Like, they all could be funny. Like, really? It's just, I think so. I think it's the material letting them down.
Danielle, what's the hardest Emily Blunt has ever made you laugh?
I think when she married John Krasinski. Oh, why did they do
Devil
that?
Wears Prada.
Like, wow. That was just the first thing that came to my mind. No John Krasinski hate here. I think he's great. Wow, Danielle.
I'm not a big fan.
I need coffee.
But I mean, like, Devil Wears Prada, she's fun.
She's really
fun. Do you want to move on or do you want to dive in on that, Danielle?
Yeah, really. Tell us more.
No, I just feel terrible. Now I'm just a bad person.
Good news? Yeah, whatever, bro.
Everybody Jim face. All right, keep going.
But at once over.
No, we're good.
Oh my God, is that your idea of a joke? That is not funny.
Correct. Meet Frank, a riverboat captain inspired by the HG&H in Humphrey Bogart's name. He's an actual colonizer. With more bad puns than our starring section.
Pause, by the way, just briefly. The African Queen, great old school adventure movie. Humphrey Bogart and Elizabeth Taylor, I think, right? No.
Want to try again? We'll give one more try?
You help me out, Lon.
Katharine Hepburn.
Thank you. And I guess we can get into it later, but like it's a dynamic that works because it's like salty riverboat captain and like fancy lady, and like naturally
exactly
salty riverboat captain and plucky go get him archaeologist adventurer. Like they would seem to get along or be sort of on the same page from the get-go, but they kind of have to force the awkward banter and the rivalry.
Totally agree. Completely agree with your point there.
I also think it works better if the leads have some kind of like romantic chemistry.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
We'll get to
that. Keep playing.
No doubt.
Before this, I used to work in an orange juice factory, but I got canned. Couldn't concentrate. Yeah, they put the.
They have concentrated orange juice.
No, I looked this up. They didn't invent concentrated orange juice until post World War II.
All the time.
Anachronistic joke, folks.
Sure, The Rock does it and it's charming, but if I keep giggling to myself in the produce section of Trader Joe's, suddenly it's concerning. Watch as The Rock really delivers on the physicality. Sort of nails the drama.
What will happen to you?
I get to make a choice, and I choose to rest.
And speaks the tiniest amount of 4th grade Spanish, so we know he's from the area.
Mi paloma, por favor. ¿Entendido? Buena niña.
Now this is a man who can tell me where the biblioteca is.
Lágrimas de cristal.
But he finally gets to shine in a role he was destined to play. An actual rock. Hope he didn't take the opportunity for granite. Do you think he was petrified before this scene? Or does he get enough stone-cold sleep often? When headstrong scientist Rachel Wise from The Mummy, Lily Houghton, hires Frank for a trip down the river, the chemistry is undeniable between The Rock and his boat. The Rock and her gay brother.
I mean, we could just talk about it now. I don't know what to say about the people who, previous to watching this movie, were giving it reviews like the chemistry is undeniable between The Rock and Emily Blunt. I don't know what they're watching. I just can't take The Rock seriously with like another normal looking human being. I feel like you need to pair him with like Sofia Vergara or like another like an actual Amazon, like Gal Gadot or something like that. It just looks like, I don't know, it looks like an action figure and a human, and it just doesn't look like they fit together. I don't know, maybe because The Rock is like what a 6-year-old boy fantasizes about like looking like someday, is that there's just something kind of sexless about him Like he just is too muscular and like smooth.
I don't know. I think it's also part of the performances that he gives. Like The Rock definitely has his like voice and mode, and it's like, and he's the same way with men and women, and I think that's part of the appeal of The Rock as a character and how they use him in these movies. But it does also mean like it seems like he sometimes has difficulty switching modes. Like, okay, this is how I played this scene with like all of these other people, but now I'm the romantic lead, and like, you know, like I don't know if he's quite switching modes when he's with Emily Blunt versus, you know, like Jack Whitehall.
Yeah, no, it's like the exact same banter, and then at the end they like kiss, and it's like not, because it's none of the like, it's not like Romancing the Stone banter where it's like, you know, kind of like,
oh, they like each other, but this is how they're working through it, right?
Yeah, they keep trying to like force it by like showing a couple of like them staring, clearly not at each other, but just like close-ups of them staring at something, and making kind of like small eyes, and that's how you know, or like small eyes. Yeah, you know, small eyes.
Yeah, no, I absolutely know what you mean when you're making small
it's
eyes.
Sexy because you can't fully see each other.
I understood immediately.
My small eyes. And then like putting them together and like those awkward things, like when they're down there, because it's supposed to be sexy when she's down in the cage and he's feeding her air. Like that's supposed to be hot. But instead, it really does just come off like CPR. Like it doesn't come off. It's like, oh, like he's helping her, but also their lips are touching. And this is the moment we've been waiting for the entire movie. Like I did not expect that they were going to be a thing. Like it never even crossed my brain.
It could have just as easily been Johnny Knoxville instead of Emily Blunt, and The Rock would have played that scene exactly the same. He is paired with Johnny Knoxville in Walking Tall. That's why I thought.
That was when that underwater scene was when Emily Blunt was overcoming her only character flaw. She can't swim. Yeah. It's like, oh crap, we wrote another perfect human being again. What's wrong with her? She can't swim. Perfect. That's like
well, they wanted her to do parkour, so she couldn't be clumsy.
I know, but she was clumsy in a couple scenes at the beginning. Like she like bumps some stuff when she's trying to sneak around, and that's usually the go-to. Is like,
yeah, that's the good stuff right there.
But what a klutz. No man would ever love her. She's a klutz.
It is weird because they're so obviously playing like her brother is this kind of, you know, like dandy, like over the top, you know, like he's only ever been in the city and has no idea how to be in the jungle. And you would think you could give her that characteristic. Like you could still ever be like a brilliant researcher and all the other stuff.
Who's posh, yeah.
Right. Yeah. But like, yeah, just make her like, because that's also the African queen dynamic. And it's totally what I expected. And then, yeah, making her just like, exactly Rachel Weisz from The Mummy, where she's also like this great adventurer, up for anything, perfect physical specimen, basically superhero. You're just not giving them much of a dynamic to play with.
Or if she is, then make the Rock Paul Giamatti. Have Paul Giamatti play.
Literally, just have those two guys switch characters. Yeah, I'm in.
Also,
The Rock
like
is a ludicrous Italian stereotype.
Yeah. As fun as like the pants jokes are, I gotta say, I always love a good moment where the chick's got to break off her heels and slit down her skirt so she can get stuff done.
Yeah, they got a lot of mileage out of those pants.
They love that. They love
that joke. All right, let's keep playing.
And her gay brother.
I had a girlfriend once. She was cross-eyed. Didn't work out. We could never see eye to eye.
The Rock and his pet jaguar.
You're the best cat I've ever had.
The Rock and his child servant.
Rápido!
Really anyone except The Rock and Lily Houghton.
Frank, get off me! What are you doing?
I'm trying to get traction.
This is ridiculous.
No, wait.
Just leave me alone. That was a disaster.
You're too heavy.
Still, Emily Blunt thrills as a woman with dual PhDs in botany and parkour. Nothing will stop her from joining the He-Man Woman Haters Club.
A tribe whose chief, a lady, was...
Pause.
Not.
Someone correctly pointed out in the comments that around this time in England, it would have been like 5 years removed from Queen Victoria. A woman leader.
A woman.
Anywho,
everybody's monocles popped off at the same moment.
And I forgot actually at the very end, if you can recall, do they actually bring back anything from that tree or any like proof that any of this actually happened? Or is it just like their word?
Yeah, I think it's just their word. I think it's just Jack Whitehall being like, screw y'all.
Yeah. And then we totally saved the day. Like, why would they buy it any more than they thought it was ridiculous the first time they presented to the society?
They must bring back, I'm blanking on exactly what happened. They must have brought back some kind of evidence of, I'm gonna look it up.
Yeah, because
they definitely go and get like the final word on the He-Man Society. So I just don't remember exactly how.
Yeah. Anyways,
I'm guessing she must have like published something that proved it, and that's what. My assumption.
They think they have the last petal, and she uses it, but then the moon like cracks back out, and there's one more bloom that she can grab, and that's what she takes back.
Yeah,
so she does have one of the flowers to bring back with her, and then they're like, "Oh, you can join the Royal Society now," and she's like, "Get bent."
Got it. All right. Okay, keep going.
Not even if that means stealing an entire civilization's most prized natural resource and using it exclusively to help our new bestie with benefits. Wow, they really stick it to that indigenous tribe. The Imagineers are gonna have to shut this ride down for some retooling. Again. Is the dark history of European imperialism not fun enough for you? Then climb aboard for a supporting cast of cut-ups featuring Jack Whitehall as Disney's 8th first live-action gay character, with a perfectly self-contained coming-out moment for easy Chinese censor removal. Paul Giamatti as the guy from the pizza boxes.
Buongiorno, Frankie boy!
And the main villain, Prince Jesse Plemons. He's not exactly a Nazi, but he's not exactly not, see?
Dann nehme ich es selbst.
He's like if Werner Herzog was a fascist.
This is just the classic collapsing of World War I and World War II Germany together. They're just always basically evil Nazis. Very
like
different
the
wars.
Kaiser wasn't like a great guy. Like I don't,
No, but like neither were the kings and queens of Europe at the time. It was just everybody was just trying to fight each other to colonize places like this faster.
The only difference in terms of how Jesse Plemons is playing this role is the uniform. Like if you put him in a Nazi uniform, you would be like, "Yep, there he is."
Yeah, but I did appreciate that. This is what saved the movie from being just unwatchable to me: is how these two, Jesse Plemons and Paul Giamatti, were giving it 900%. I know that's not possible, but they managed to. Like every line of dialogue, every scene, they were like sweating bullets and just like screaming in these just cartoonish accents. And gosh darn it, if it didn't make me laugh every time.
You gotta respect those guys for just recognizing that what this is and just leaving it all on screen, leaving nothing behind in the tank.
Yeah. It would be very boring without those two pedigreed actors.
I feel like if Paul Giamatti was not Italian, this would be deeply offensive. Like this is only because his last name is Giamatti that he's allowed to do this.
I like forgot that he was in the movie, so as soon as like that happened, I was like, I gotta look up this actor, and then I was like, oh, it's Paul Giamatti. Like they just covered him in stuff and gave him a dumb accent.
Yeah. Yes, they did. All right.
Herzog was a fascist who took orders from a bee.
The arrow hit? The arrow hit? Yes, show me where.
Well, at least the movie doesn't feel the need to point out that it's funny that he's talking to
They're taking orders from a bee.
Hey movies, please stop pointing out the funny thing. We get it. So if you like the first Pirates of the Caribbean film, Disney's hoping it's because you like movies where a boat captain and a headstrong tomboy lady clash. And then they run across some nasty Europeans who are actually immortal. So the captain pretends to die to save the others, but he turns out to be immortal too. And the headstrong tomboy lady ends up saving him in the end.
Savvy.
Starring Steamboat Silly, Between a Rock and His Hard Place, Waking
I can't
Snake,
believe we got that in.
Brotherhood of the Traveling Pants, Friday Nine Lights,
It's me, Paul Giamatti.
A Tribe Called Test, and contractually obligated reminders that The Rock is swole.
I wouldn't trust you as far as I could throw you, which clearly isn't very far because you are huge.
Big, strong boy.
Gosh, there's a lot of you, isn't there?
Yeah, there is.
Raiders of the Lost Bark.
It's true. They're looking for a tree, folks.
Seriously, it's great that this and Hobbs and Shaw are finally ending The Rock's iconic run of never getting action in his own action movies. But can some high school drama teacher step in and teach him to stage kiss?
Really weird.
I'm
It's a
sure
really weird
there's
kiss.
takes where they tried it, but it's like Michael Jackson and Imani in a
Yes.
Remember the Time
Remember
video.
the Time video. Yeah.
Ooh,
Sometimes
yikes.
it's best to just not show it.
Yeah. Just put that arm right up.
Just like give us the 3/4 perspective on it. That's fine.
Put the arm right up.
Good times.
Like how some actors have like a stunt stand-in, he needs a kiss stand-in, just like a really huge
get
guy,
a body double,
but who's very sensual.
A kissable body double for the Rock.
Right said Fred. Can we see what that guy's up to?
Yeah.
Sensual Rock.
Yeah,
Sensual Rock. Yeah,
he's very sexy.
Or is he? You be the judge. Thank you guys for watching. This is Honest Trailer Commentaries. You know that already. Hit like and hit subscribe, and give that bell a ding-a-ling so you don't miss another thing.
Ooh, that rhymes.
Yeah, that did. So, we have some outtakes. Let's do some outtakes. What did we cut out of this?
Starring,
definitely puns.
Frankly, my dear, I will make a dam. Puns Akimbo. America Del Surly. The Eternals. Dope Francis. Edge of Yesterday. So You Think You Can Pants. Conquistador. Latin Hex. Punch and Judy Garland. McGregor! Dandy Man. Travels with My Sister. Kids Fop. Chappie.
Ich mach's nicht von nein!
When Life Gives You Clemens. Do You Even Boat, Bro? Führer, the Submariner. Kaiser Droll. The Italian Jib.
You've brought a great joy to this old Italian stereotype.
Trader Scam. Agent Barter. Local Natives. Bow Trap. Overboard. Romancing the Rock. I Ship It.
It's time for Amazoniacs.
The Way of the Pun. Don't the Rock the Boat.
I didn't mean for
Gotta say, it was fun to see The Rock and Sean William Scott reunite.
Yes! That's awesome!
Those two are great together.
Got a f***ing dart in your neck.
It doesn't appear to be coming off.
It's because it's tattoo ink. It'll come off eventually. In a few decades.
Tattoos stay visible because the needle pushes them under your top layers of skin, Frank. Not because the ink is magic and never washes off. You've been alive for hundreds of years, bro.
Huh. We're missing some other deleted bits and pieces here because I know we had more The Rock as a Rock puns.
The Rock as a Rock went on for a really long time originally.
Yeah, you'll have to write your own in the comments for Rock as an actual Rock.
I think I made a few contributions even before we cut it down.
Yeah. Oh well. Yeah, you can fill those in your own brain. I also noticed one thing that didn't make it in is do you think that was a nod to Aguirre, Wrath of God, to name
it is?
The bad
No,
guy,
he's
Aguirre?
he's playing Aguirre, who is a historical figure.
Yeah.
So yes, it is Edgar Ramirez in this movie is in fact playing the exact same character that Klaus Kinski is playing in the classic Herzog
And Jesse
film.
Plemons is playing Werner Herzog.
But they even went so far as all the other conquistadors who are with Aguirre who come back to life, they're all named after real guys. Like they really went back and it's a whole group of actual historical conquistadors. Now, in fairness, all these guys were in Peru, not Brazil. So they messed that up for the movie, but close enough.
So Easter eggs for all you big conquistador.
Yeah, if you really hate the Incas, you can celebrate the people who wiped them off the face of the earth by watching Jungle Cruise.
On to the viewer comments. So speaking of which, Prince of Poo Poo writes, there's some cool Easter eggs about the ride in the movie and vice versa. The Disney parks have this massive cinematic universe that like 90% of people don't know about. I don't know about it. I just know that the most recent time I went to Disneyland, I saw way too much Johnny Depp at the Pirates of the Caribbean ride.
He's around every corner.
He's in there a lot. Yeah. I did notice there's one part where they're reading one of the journals and they cite Dr. Albert Falls in this, which is a reference to a joke from the ride because they're like, we're coming up on Schweitzer Falls, named after the famed naturalist Dr. Albert Falls. But of course, it's Schweitzer. Yeah. Jungle Cruise. So there's a bunch of stuff like that where if you know the banter from the ride, they're making references.
Yeah. Well, let's see. Let's see. Where'd that question go? Oh, Adam Hulbert writes, what's anyone's favorite Jesse Plemons villain role? Because he's putting together quite the collection.
Yeah.
It's Game Night.
Yeah, I was just gonna say it's Game Night. Yeah, it's Game Night.
He destroys in Game Night. It's so funny. I mean, he's great in that Black Mirror episode too. That would be like my second pick.
That was a great one. Yeah.
But oh man, I love him so much in Game Night. What an amazing performance.
Yeah, he plays a great dead-eyed psychopath. Like Ryan brings up Todd from Breaking
Todd
Bad.
from Breaking Bad,
of course.
And El Camino. He was really good in El Camino.
Yeah. Oh, that was great.
Yeah.
He's great. He's just like, who knew
He's so good.
Landry would be one of our generation's greatest actors.
And it's not a villain role, but that I'm thinking of Ending Things, Charlie Kaufman movie he did on Netflix is incredible.
I think it's a villain. Well, that's a whole other story.
I mean, it's on the edge. I don't know.
John Bainbridge asks, what's the jungle percentage requirement for a jungle movie?
Great question. Great question. I feel like the main setting would have to be the jungle for it to be a rock jungle. Like he's got to be going to the jungle as the primary action.
Right. Yeah. I'd say like just it's got to be around half of it.
Yeah, at least 50% Jung.
Yeah, Jung.
Yeah.
Carl Jung over here. Yeah,
it's a Jungian archetype.
Yeah, you gotta be. If you're not in the jungle, characters should be talking about the jungle and when they're going. Radar City Update Channel asks, how much breakfast cereal do you think The Rock could eat in a day?
Oh my God.
Well, in a day? With milk or without? Because I think you need the milk. But
it's his strategy. He probably wants to do, if you're doing it all day, you probably want to mix it up. Go dry, wet, dry, wet.
Unless it's like Captain Crunch, because you would cut up your mouth real bad. You need
the orals. Yeah, the oral health part of it.
I'd say 12 boxes, and I would get far, far away from any bathroom within.
I feel like it's way more than. I feel like 12 boxes is just like that's the start. That's like it's like a pallet.
Yeah, because he's used to eating like big things of protein. Like wasn't he one of those people who like around the time Mark Wahlberg was telling us all like his ridiculous schedule, The Rock was like, here's everything I eat, and everyone was like, that's like a family's worth of
it's disgusting how much The Rock eats.
It's so much easier to eat like a steamed chicken than it is to eat like bowl after bowl of hard dry cereal. I don't know. I think that he might have
depends
to
on
okay, moving on. Sarah Q asked, what's the best ride based on a movie or the best movie based on a ride? They've made a bunch of like Terminator 4D or whatever is pretty sweet at Universal.
Yeah, that's true.
It's not a ride, but I'm always gonna say the Waterworld Spectacular is one of the best things I've ever seen.
I mean, I guess I would say Star Tours. That's probably my all-time favorite like movie inspired ride.
Mm-hmm.
But I do love that Waterworld action stunt spectacular. It used to be the Miami Vice.
The bones of the Miami Vice.
Yeah.
They both fly planes over the set at the end.
Yeah.
If they ever if they turn that into Fast and the Furious or whatever it is that they're going to do next, it's fine. You just got to keep having that, like a boat or a plane or a car or something.
A seaplane has to jump into the pool at the end. Yeah, I insist.
Yeah, mostly the rides based on movies are usually not great, although I've only done like Southern California theme parks. They usually are like you get in a box and then there's like screens around you and it shakes while it shows you scenes of Optimus Prime screaming at you. So it's
right, like the Simpsons ride or the Back to the Future ride.
The Mummy actually built one out, which is cool. There's a real Mummy ride.
Some Mummy love in the chat.
Yeah,
and Jurassic Park is like you go, that they have that.
It's always broken.
It
and
is
also
broken
and then there's the one that's on the tram, which was very upsetting to me because like it's like 40 and that things happen and like it spit in my hair. It was very upsetting.
That's not good.
It was not.
Some people pay extra for
I mean, all those Disneyland rides are kind of based on movies. Like Mr. Toad's Wild Ride is based on a movie, and like so you could pick any of those.
The Kong Skull
Dumbo.
Island ride I did in Orlando was very disappointing.
Oh, I didn't even know that was a ride.
I was not pleased with the Skull Island ride. I would say it's not a ride, but just Harry Potter World in general is probably like the most successful like movie adaptation to a theme park.
Well, in Florida, they do have that ride now, right? Like Hagrid rides around the beasts or whatever.
Yeah, where you're riding on a little bicycle with some wings. The motorcycle, like his motorcade. Yeah.
That Cars ride at Disneyland is pretty fun too.
The Cars ride is actually awesome.
I really like that one. Yeah,
we need Eric here. So we gotta follow up with this when we have Eric around because he also could probably.
Yeah, we need more
about this.
Actually, I think we have plenty. We have enough Disney adults on staff here. I was gonna say we need more.
We'll update.
We have like 2.
I think we're good. Yeah.
All right. We'll close with this. Do you have a pitch for a Splash Mountain movie? any ideas for how we could, or really take it any Disneyland ride you can.
So there's this guy named Uncle Remus. No, I don't think we should do that. I don't think we should.
You're right, because Splash Mountain's based on.
It's based on a Song of the South.
Oh, there you go. There's your pitch.
But it's that one's locked in the back of the Disney vault. You know, like the vault has like the little mini safe inside the vault with its own key. That's where Song
Disney
of the South
minus.
is.
Yeah.
They still do Hall of Presidents. That can make like an interesting movie, just like all of the presidents
in there.
Yeah, all of the presidents just like come alive. Maybe it's like Hamilton; they all start rapping.
Yeah. Oh God.
I did kind of think they would do that. You could take like Brer Rabbit and Brer Bear, just like excise all the other stuff and like make a cartoon movie about those characters. I always figured they would do that, and they never.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably for the best.
Probably for the best.
Just like that's going to be Princess and the Frog now, and we'll all be better off for it.
Yeah. All right. This has been fun. It always is. Always a good time with y'all. And thank you so much for watching. Please come back next week where we will do a deep dive in a movie that's it's going to be hot. It's going to be a hot one, people. Ooh, yeah. So that's
it's a hot one.
It's a hot one.
It's going to be very smooth. It will be.
There are, some things about it are also smooth.
It's just like the ocean under the moon.
Well, yeah, ocean not so much. So
you haven't watched till the end?
Well, come on. We'll say, it's more. Well, we don't want to give it away. We'll see you next week. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.
This episode was brought to you by Hulu.